Hey guys, and welcome to game number 38 out of 100 of the Mack vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top online Scrabble bot, HastyBot. We've been on a roll lately, and we're currently leading 25 to 12, so we've got a nice cushion, but let's see if we can increase that even more here in game 38. We should be first this game, and indeed we are. Okay, opening rack to start things off. Not gonna bingo here. A little bit too val heavy, and this KP combo is not ideal. Let's see, what are our options here? If we want to score, I guess pinko is probably our best bet. I don't love keeping two A's. Probably Okapi is going to be better. It scores, I guess it scores 4 less, but AN is considerably better than AA. So that's almost certainly going to be worth the sacrifice. I'm not seeing anything better than Okapi. We certainly can't score more, as far as I can tell. And it definitely doesn't make sense to play something like Oka. Pain is an okay leave, but it's not even that much better than AN, so it doesn't really make sense to give back the 10 points. I guess the real question is, where do we play Okapi? Do we play it here with the I on the star, or do we play it with the O on the star? I kind of think the I on the star is better, just because the K... Well... Yeah, I mean, the K is probably not actually that much harder to double through than the P. But this way, at least the S hook bingos with the S will score a little less, because then they won't hit the double word. I don't know, I don't think it really matters all that much, but this feels slightly better to me, and it's not a decision that's meaningful enough to spend a lot of time on, especially in a 15-minute game, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, QI comes down... beeswax almost if we had another E. I really like Balk here to set up the X. The question is Balk or Box? Box is what, 14 more? That's a bit to give up. That's probably worth it. Yeah, I feel like that's got to be worth it here. It's early. There's still 3 more S's unseen. I think 14's a lot to give up at this stage of the game. The Okapi's hook is, of course, nice to keep for bingos, but I wouldn't call this a super S-dependent board. We can, of course, still bingo on the G column or H column. And, yeah, I think 14 is worth it. Let's play box. Okay, well, our X setup is foiled by his bingo, but we do pick up another X, so that could have been worse. And let's see, do we have anything from this Q? I'd love to play Quone, but of course that is only a famous phony in a Seinfeld episode, which, by the way, you all should watch if you haven't already. It's absolutely hysterical. Basically, Quone is played on a board, and, well, beyond that, I won't spoil it. You guys should all watch it. I'll put a link in the description. Let's see. What else? Well, we could play Queen there, which isn't bad. Don't love keeping the X this early on for multiple turns. But we do score 28, and we have a decent chance to get a big play with it on the next turn between this spot here next to remained and the new spot we're opening next to queen. So not terrible. I don't at all like X here. The leave is not so good, and it obviously gives back a huge scoring line on row 1. So not a fan of that. Exam here also pretty terrible just because of the leave. The E really helps the leave here considerably. I don't see much else, so probably worth it to, I guess there's unsex. AEO though? Yeah, I don't think so. Don't think that's worth it. So probably just queen is fine. I think I'll go ahead and play that. Okay, he plays Pallier, and we have the blank. You almost have Quixotes, but not quite going to fit. Of course, I could just play XU here for 38, keeping IOST blank. We're going to actually need a bingo that scores quite a bit. We're probably going to need to score about 80 if we want to have a bingo that's worth it over just playing XU, because that's very strong. Do we have any? I feel like there's got to be something through this E or this A, but maybe not. It is definitely worth going through the alphabet here, because if there is a bingo, it does have potential, especially if there's something from this P to score a lot. So let's see. I don't see anything yet. I'm just sort of going through the alphabet one letter at a time in my head. Outfixes or outmixes aren't words, and they wouldn't even play anyway. Yeah, I'm not seeing it yet. I just see Quixotes for now, which of course is not going to play. Vexatious, that would be a 9. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Outjinxes, also a 9. Maybe there isn't anything. It's certainly possible with an X and a U. It's not that easy to bingo. And like I said, XU is certainly not a bad play by any means. I just do want to make sure there's nothing that's clearly better that we're missing. But there very well may not be. Oxidate, no, that doesn't work. I'll look for another 30 seconds maybe and then probably give up. But it's not jumping out. Yeah, okay, I think I've looked enough. XU is quite strong in its own right. I'm going to go ahead and just play that. Oh, wow, another blank? Okay, so now, I mean, I guess we just bingo through this P? We could actually make an argument for just playing toes to take away that spot. It's actually not insane. Because you're keeping both blanks, and you're taking away by far the best scoring spot on the board. There's actually something to be said for that. There's no Q or X, though, so it's still not that hard for him to score, like, 60. Because if he just plays, like... I don't know, what could he fit there? Beam. B-E-A-M. That's, like, almost 60 points. Do I have somehow something as a 9 through this I and the P? Because that would be ideal. It's going to be very hard to find if it even exists, which it very well may not. I'm not going to have anything here that scores a ton because I can't hook XU. Yeah, I mean, my highest scoring plays, I have to imagine, are going to be any of a million bingos from this P. Like, I don't know, let's just say I played... This Postique would be pretty cool to float the Q and the U since they're hard to use. So 77 versus, yeah, I guess toes. Definitely worth it to play the S with 2 blanks in toe here. 29, so I'm giving up 48 points, but I mean, it's hard to imagine not bingoing next turn with 2 blanks. And like I said, I do take away by far the best scoring spot on this board. Like that, this has got to reduce his average score by close to 15 points next turn, I would estimate. So I kind of feel like this is worth it. I mean, it's like I'm in a great position after this. I'm up 30, and I'm going to have 2 blanks, and I should be bingoing at least 90% of the time next turn if I want to. Whereas after Postique, of course, I'm taking a 80-point lead, but if he scores 60 there, or even 40, it just feels a lot less secure than here, where if he doesn't bingo, it's going to be hard for him to score that much. So I don't know, this is actually pretty interesting, but I'm going to go ahead and play toes. It's kind of weird, but yeah, see, and now I'm going to score 100 when I bingo, because I'm just going to play like pitchers or something like that. And that's going to score like 100. I mean, I wouldn't love floating that E and that R if I had another option, but I do want to double the H, so maybe I don't have anything. Oh wow, I'd love to, this would be really cool. It's a very low prob word, but it scores considerably less than pitchers, so can't imagine that's the best play. Is there anything better than pitchers though that does put the H on the double but doesn't float the E and the R like that? Or maybe. I also am getting low on time, so I don't want to spend all that long. Psychist? No, I don't think that's good. Psych? No, I don't think so. Potiches, postiche. Potiches, that doubles the C. Pistache. Hepatics. Pistache, pastiche, hepatics. No, that doesn't work. Alright, I think I'm just going to play pitchers. It's kind of lame. But it's 101 points, so you take what you can get in this game sometimes. Okay, he plays waif, and we have a boatload of consonants here. What are we going to do with them, actually? Not much. Bevy? Is that worth it over exchanging? Not sure. I guess there's Y-clad, which rarely comes up, but JVB is really gross, hard to work with. Don't think we have much over here. Bi is obviously terrible. Bevy does at least take out the E and the L, which is nice. There's enough E's for us to draw. I don't know. I don't really want to keep DLCJ for obvious reasons. So there is something to be said for just exchanging. I'm definitely not going to play Y-clad. JVB is just awful. And it's possible I should just exchange here, but I do like at least that Bevy blocks a few lines, and this is salvageable. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, so he plays great, and yeah, this isn't looking so bad now. Don't really want to play refold from this R and blow it all open. Yeah, maybe I underestimated just how bad this J is. I guess I really don't have a lot I can do with it. I mean, I don't want to just play J-O. That seems really lame. Oh, I have field. It's a word that can be hard to see. I mean, I probably have to play that. It's just so much better for equity than anything else. There's one S unseen, so I give him a single chance to bingo with fields with his one S. There's plenty of ways for him to come back to this game if I hang on to the J, like bingoing from this S in pitchers. So I think I gotta do that and shed this J. So yeah, let's chew that. Okay, so he bingos, but not for much. And I have something. Yeah, I have monarchs and no marks through this R. Anything through the I? In so much or in as much? Not quite. Don't think there's an 8 with the I or the T. I think it's just monarchs and no marks that are available here. And of course, no marks would be better because it scores a few more points by doubling the M. So, I mean, this has got to be right. It's certainly not worth it to play something like match and forgo the bingo. I'm not. If I were up 50 more points, then sure, just to take out the triple-triple. But it doesn't put me up enough to be safe against other bingos. So I need to just do this, and as long as he doesn't triple-triple through the T, I should be in good shape. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so he plays Togud, and this... Well, we have to be a little careful, though, here, guys, because there is a Z unseen, and if I'm not careful, I could get caught with it and lose after something. Like, if I'm... Like, what if I just play... I don't know. If I hypothetically just played, like, Relived, and he plays Outlined, then who wins? So Relived puts me up 104, Outlined is 80. It would be a tie? Yeah, it would be a tie, so I can't do that. I've got to play off one tile. And not, unless I can play... Maybe I can just play Evil, actually. I can probably just play Evil. Because, yeah, now... Oh, Reaver is even more, actually, right? Reaver here. Yeah, this has got to outrun anything he could possibly have. I mean, I don't even know what he could have through that R. Like, Outliner doesn't fit. I'm not going to get Z stuck, am I? That's the one thing I need to be a little careful of. I might, actually. No, I have Tiz. No, I won't. I have Tiz up here and I have Za here. So I won't get Z stuck. This... I mean, I can't imagine this ever loses. Yeah, I don't think this can possibly lose. So let's just go ahead and do that. Okay, he does score well with his Z. And I did not draw well, but that is quite alright. I just need to, like, not lose on time here. Even if I phony, I think I still win. So let me just not flag. And I'm definitely not stopping him from going out with tone. So what looks good? Oh, I don't know. Just... Ulu here for 5, maybe? There's probably something a little bit better. Maybe... Yeah, Lund doesn't really look better. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have very much. I don't really care. I'll just play Ulu. And... Okay, so 428 to 366. A good win for us there. Few interesting turns for sure. The toes turn was probably the most counterintuitive and most sort of thought-provoking decision of this game, but there were definitely a few other turns I want to look at as well. So let's go ahead and examine. Opening turn, yeah, Okapi looks pretty clear. As for where to play it, yeah, I ultimately decided to play it with the eye on the start, mostly because S bingos wouldn't hurt as much. But, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal to really play it here either. Of course, I could very well pick up an S instead of my opponent. It's probably slightly easier to get a bingo with an O to either of these triples, especially the latter one. But I'm not entirely sure about that. Either an O or an I are pretty hard to start with. Both the P and the K are not too easy to work with in the double-double line either. So I think it's pretty negligible, but either way should be fine. Again, not a decision that's worth agonizing over too much. He responds with QI. Yeah, I think Box looks good. It's just a lot to give up 14 points this early for the S. So I think Box looks good over Bach. He plays Remained. I might have gone with D minor not to float. Or actually, no, Remained doesn't float the R in the triple A. Never mind. Yeah, this looks fine because D minor gives back quite a lot in its own right. So yeah, that looks good for him. He likes Unsex, which I saw. It is 12 more points, but AEO could turn sour really fast, and I've got very good scoring potential next turn with OSX. Another option is O over here for 25, but it does give back a lot of points with this X. And I mean, it's very reasonable too, just to keep a higher bingo percentage. But I think Queen is quite fine. I'll be scoring 40 next turn a very large percent of the time. He plays Pellier. Okay, no bingos missed here, which is nice to see. Anxious is cool for 58, but clearly not worth it over XU, which only scores 20 less but keeps the S in the blank. Indoor and oh, I guess I missed. What did I miss here? Oh wow. I definitely did not see that. That is crazy stuff right there. And yeah, Solidus. I was basically just thinking if I bingo, I'm going to bingo from this P. Oh, Peyotism is cool too. Yeah, Odetides may be worth it. That's a really cool play, and it's just so defensive from a bingo standpoint that it probably is worth it. I mean, I do allow him to score here, but now if he scores there, it's not going to be easy for him to bingo, whereas any of these plays from the P that I was looking at, if he scores here, then he gets the game close, and he still has a lot of real estate to work with, whereas after Odetides, any of these placements, then even if he scores here, I should still have a good 30-point lead on a closed board. So yeah, if I saw this, which is obviously really hard to see, especially with two blanks, then I think I would have gone for it, but I'm still good with my decision to play toes over any of the bingos from the P. Just given I do still score pretty well here, I'm so likely to bingo next turn with both blanks, possibly for more points, as I indeed did. And I take out some bad scenarios here that he could hit in the top. So I think toes is very reasonable. Plays Orgy. Yeah, Pitchers is my best bingo there. I did see this word, which is pretty cool, but of course inferior since it scores 9 less. He plays Waif, and oh, I missed Buy over here, which, yeah, maybe that's worth it. I don't know. Bevy may have been a bit ill-advised. I guess Buy is that's 16 more points. That is a lot. Keeping that V is, of course, very, very unpleasant. Y-Clad does get rid of an extra consonant, but BJV are just so ugly, especially all three together. Any of those two together are really bad, and all three together is just disgusting. So, I don't know. I couldn't really stomach Y-Clad. And Bevy, I mean, CDJL is pretty bad, let's face it. I think I just decided that it had enough merit between taking out a few of these bingo lanes and still scoring 12 points that it was worth it. But in retrospect, maybe I should just exchange there, because I did have some trouble unloading the J next turn, and that was even with a nice draw with 2 vowels. So Yeah, I think in retrospect I maybe should have gone with an exchange here, but I don't hate Bevy. Certainly I don't like buy. It just accomplishes nothing other than forestalling a pretty certain exchange, I have to imagine, until the next turn. So I still probably prefer Bevy over buy, despite the 16-point sacrifice. But, I mean, 16 is a lot of points at the same time, so I don't hate buy. I don't hate exchanging. But yeah, I think all of them are reasonable here. You could definitely make arguments in favor of all three of those options. Okay, he plays great. Yeah, field I think is pretty much forced. Oh, I guess Sloyd here is okay too. There is something to be said for this because it's a lot more defensive, and it scores 8 less than field, but it just gives back so much less. And not only that, it does take away this S, which is his best scoring bingo line. So actually that may be better given the score. I mean, after Sloyd, I'm going up almost 80, and even if he bingos over here, it's really not going to score a lot. Whereas after Field, I'm allowing him to still bingo from this S, or also hook Fields to bingo there, or bingo with a double-double through this L. I'm just giving back so much more that yeah, Sloyd is actually probably worth it here. I think if I had to do this over again, I would take Sloyd, but unfortunately, I didn't think of that during the game, which would have been very clever. But Field, not a terrible play, just probably a slight strategic inaccuracy. And he was able to capitalize with Retirement, but thankfully I drew a bingo back with no marks. And yeah, game is pretty much over here at this point. He plays Togud. If he wants to go for the win, he, I guess, should probably leave the T open, but there just aren't a lot of good options that do that. Maybe OG over here. I mean, realistically, I'm going to be blocking that every single time, you have to imagine. And if I have 7 consonants somehow and can't block it, then by definition, he'll be drawing all vowels. And of course, not bingoing anyway, having 6 vowels on his rack. So, I don't know. I think he's pretty much drawing dead at this point. So, probably Togud, just trying to cut spread, or hope maybe he can draw like some sort of crazy thing with a Z and bingo for 100, like errotized, and maybe somehow I won't block. That's probably his best chance, actually. So, yeah, Togud seems reasonable. I didn't see Irov, which is fine too, although it does allow involute. So I think Reaver is better, since I'll just quickly check this on my phone, but I don't think there's any possible 8s that he could have had through that R with the unseen pool. I saw Outliner, but it does not fit with the space on the board, and Outliner is indeed the only 8. So nothing he could have had. Reaver looks perfectly fine, since once again I can't get Z stuck, having both Tiz on the top left as well as ZA on the bottom right. So I don't really have anything to fear here. He plays Lays, and I make a suboptimal endgame play with Ulu. I should have just played Lu over here, which scores 5 more. It does give back a higher scoring play of Tone, though, actually. So I may be better off just playing Ulu, because Tone there is 18, and No Net was only 9. So actually, yeah, Ulu is better than Lu. Soli would be 1 point better, because I score 3 more and I keep 1 extra tile, which will net him 2 more after he goes out. So Soli would net me 1 more point, as would, actually no, Lu over here would give back Tone for 10. So Lu over here would be tied with my play. Sol also is 1 better. So my best endgame would have been 1 better. Certainly not a big deal, especially being under time pressure. More important to just get the win, which is what I did. So, okay, pretty good game. A few inaccuracies, I think, on my part. Toes seems fine over the bingos from the P, but I missed that really crazy 6-tile overlap of Odetides, which I'd like to have seen, but I'll forgive myself, given I had 2 blanks and it was 6 overlaps, so it was a little bit of overwhelming turn in terms of the vast amount of possibilities. Other than that, Bevy, highly questionable play, maybe should have exchanged. Field, also highly questionable, probably should have just gone with Sloyd from that S to be a bit more conservative, given the score. So I think a couple small to medium-sized mistakes. I'm going to say Odetides is a medium-sized mistake. The other 2 are questionable to small mistakes. So not the cleanest game ever, but certainly I've played way worse, and happy to get a few nice plays in and come away with another win. And we now improve to 26-12 after 38 games in the series. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks again for watching, as always, and I will see you soon for game number 39. Have a good one. Bye-bye.